So, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. And I would just like to introduce Marcos and myself, Mark. And we are gathering together to do a reading tonight to make you aware of the situation in the Ukraine, and also to give the writers in prison writers a voice, because I found out earlier that about 40 of them are still in Ukraine, most of them in Kiev, which is being surrounded at the moment by Russian troops and being bombed. And we want to give these guys a voice. So Marcos and I are only 2 people here at the moment, but at the same time we are 3 organizations. And I'll let Marcos start and tell from his organization.
Yes, we are both members of the International PEN Club and the Writers in Prison, which is a part of the PEN Club. And I am a theatre and opera director and a writer myself also. And I'm the founder of the International Network of Music and Performing Arts for Tolerance and Peace. And one part of it is also the European Theatre Day of Tolerance, which we are running since 10 years now. And this is to evoke empathy and consciousness about the peace in our society and the urge. And I wrote a memorandum for this war now, which has been started by Russia, as we know, and to start our today's session. Ladies and gentlemen, today Europe is experiencing the first war of aggression in 83 years, waged by one country against another on our continent. We all thought that the experience of the 20th century was so horrific that no one with political responsibility would even remotely think of taking the risk of such a terrible confrontation, shaking the order that has brought Europe so much prosperity, security, and happiness during the past 76 years. Of course, we know that such an attack is really waged out of political desperation over one's own failure as a statesman, which outwardly turns into hubris, taking an entire country hostage. Of course, we know from history that the war of aggression always causes the aggressor himself to lose in the end, and the murderers to be held accountable. Because the alliance and solidarity with the invaded state fortunately still turn out to be stronger. But this sometimes takes many years and brings destruction and immeasurable human suffering. And that is the reason why I am speaking to you today. We theatre people are the experts in the human condition. We know people's passions, their qualities, and, as few others do, their weaknesses. We are all human beings, whether in uniform or not. No matter what country is in our passport, we feel the same pain, share the same longing and love life and our common world. We theatre people know the effects of happiness and confidence, what they do in soul and body, but also the effects of pain and trauma, which often remain thought throughout life. We tell stories so that you, beloved audience, can recognize yourself in them and sometimes laugh at yourself. We show you the impossible so that you dare the possible. Today, in Europe, people are shooting at people again. So today I ask you to do everything possible to alleviate human suffering. Please do everything that is in your power to help, to prevent suffering and to alleviate pain. Dare to do what is possible. Since we could not prevent war, let us at least try to keep its effects as mild as possible, in the spirit of the tradition and recent peaceful history of our continent. the indivisible dignity of man and the mutual respect and love for our world.
That's really great, Marcos. Thank you very much. And that's exactly what you guys, what you spoke out speaks for all of our organizations. It's just, this shouldn't be happening. This just should not be happening. And that's why we really have such a broken heart, a huge broken heart for these people, and we want to give them a voice. So my organization, I'm the leader of Words&Deeds, and we use the arts and our network to as a tool to help people in need. And that's exactly what we're doing now. So that's why all three of us, our organizations are a perfect combination, a collaboration that we can do this together. Let me step into the shoes of the PEN Club real quick, and I would like to read you 2 poems that have been translated into English from Ukrainian writers. As I think I mentioned, there's 40 members of the PEN Club who have stayed in Ukraine and are under constant bombing. And Kiev is under siege, and if the convoy comes now, then and it can be that they're completely cut. They are cut off. I know this is a fact already because I've talked to a lot of people from Kiev in the last week. So there's no way of getting out. But the question is what happens when the Russians surround them? You know, they've got a troop of 46 kilometers long coming to surround Kiev and to hold them under fire. So, I mean, we've seen this before, like in Sarajevo or other different places, and we don't want this in Europe. This does not belong in the modern world. And this actually is not the first incident in Ukraine. Ukraine is not, war is not foreign. Actually, in 2014, the Ukraine had the Maidan Revolution, where they pushed out the Russian-backed president, and they were successful. It was a huge. I've seen this. What was going on in Kiev. This is what they built up there to isolate the president and push him out. And these people are so strong. It's so amazing what they've done. And the only thing that said let's negatively happen after the Maidan incident is that Crimea was annexed, and that is also the foothold that Russia still had to start slowly attacking and then doing what they're doing now. Let me just get into reading a couple texts from these guys before I get too emotional, and I can apologize ahead of time for my pronunciation, because I know I can't do it very well. I try. Let's see. So I'll let my Ukrainian friends give me some schooling afterwards. This is a poem about Maidan from Iya Kiva. It's called The Year of Ukraine. See here, we got what we wanted. Now, see here Nigoyan's graffiti on the wall. In the square across the way, kids play at war. In Donbass, the adults are also at play. A square looms on Google Maps, another square. It's a house. It's a boy with a rifle in his hands. If they tell him to shoot, he'll surely will shoot off your mother or our common motherland. At the store, folks load their whole sacks with macaroni and afterwards bury the boxes somewhere. That's what crawls down the distant slope. It's your coffin, carried out by security troops. We were here, you'll say no, we haven't been here. Someone else was killed by sniper fire here, and the snow nailed those who came after to earth. The Lord's summer has gone, and it wasn't enough. We can thank Catherine Young for this. She translated that. And now a current one from Vasil Makhno. This poem was written in his February 24th experience and is called War. Lord, the way Chechena writes in Billy and Blok and Yesenin, the way they surround us on all four sides, give us strength and power, a hastily packed suitcase and bread. Naturally, their sly foxes lie, that we have neither shields nor centuries. Ihor leads us somewhere over the Don with his regiments, today with the February snow, and tomorrow with a bloody shield. And their dark forces come from Temutarakan and Moksas and Hud, shoot at our location, hit at the positions we take. So what is there in the tale of Ihor's campaign? And what is there in ancient sounds, you jumping barefoot as a wolf, spreading the spit of the devil? Reached the rivers and borders, reached my clenched heart. Your blackened icons can't even be cleansed with milk. Lord, the way Chechena writes about Kiev, the Messiah, about the country, why didn't we learn these poems by heart? Bleed, my heart, bleed. This was translated by Olena Jennings. This is really powerful stuff. I don't know how you felt.
Yeah, it's very powerful, very sad, and it's unbelievable that probably this moment Kiev is being bombed and completely destroyed, as Russians did in Chechnya with Grozny, and it's unbelievable that this happens in the 21st century after all we have witnessed in the 20th century.
It's a modern world, for crying out loud.
Yeah. And it's unbelievable how we were taken hostage by one man who is despaired, who couldn't turn Russia into a prosperous country in his 20 years of reign. It's still poor for the most of the people. It's not democratic, it's not respecting human rights, it's the money is in the hands of very few, and the big majority is just suffering.
Yes.
And this is not a good government. And of course he knows that. He travels to other countries, he comes to Austria to ski apparently.
Yeah.
So he knows how countries can look like with a good governance and in democracy. And of course he's annoyed, and he looks in the mirror and he says, I have failed.
Yeah.
And then he starts to be aggressive and wants to destroy what he envies.
Yes, exactly. That's the key point. He envies the Ukraine. I mean, this is of course our personal opinion, but there's so much history to back this up.
Yeah.
You know, his jealousy of the Ukrainian history, that they were the Kiev Rus, and that I won't get into this.
Yeah.
So I'm personally also very moved because I was in Kiev about 2 or 3 months ago, and I just saw the beauty of this place. And I knew the Russians were coming, and I was just like, oh man, I can't believe that something could happen again to this place. Because they showed in the history, they kept a lot of the ruins from the old wars. And then you see how these things were destroyed. I was like, oh God, imagine like all this stuff is destroyed. What I'm saying, this beauty, it was amazing. What a wonderful city.
Yes.
And now I think, oh my God, it's just destroyed, it's devastating. And this is the reason why Marcos and I had talked about doing a spontaneous reading, and also maybe planning some more in the future, that we would invite some Austrian artists or theater people or
artists with Ukrainian roots,
yes,
living in Austria, coming to Austria,
yes,
to introduce to you and to carry on.
There's so many wonderful Ukrainian artists in Vienna alone. I mean, I know some from Berlin, I know some from other places too, but it's like just alone in Vienna, there's just so many, and they're like, wow, these are amazing pieces of work. You know, so from singers to painters to theater, So I think it would be really a thing that we would love to do as Writers in Prison and as your international network, and also for my my organization. We just really want to give Ukraine a voice and bring in new Austrians and new Ukrainians. And if we, I don't know how it would work at the moment, but if we can even get somebody from Kiev to talk with us and maybe read their own poetry in English or in German, then we could do something like this. But we have to leave it open. Would you like to say anything to our spontaneous ideas?
Yes, we are really happy to do that, and also we hope to evoke some empathy, empathy with people, and to get the consciousness about the unbelievable value of peace, because that's the basis for our life on this planet. And we will do everything to give voice to people to stand in for that, and to stand against the aggressor. And I hope that this nightmare will be over soon. Let's hope so.
So we just want to give the people in the Ukraine strength. The people that made it over the border, we want to give them strength, and everyone else I want to encourage to do the same, to really stand on their side. That's basically how we're going to close this here. We just say, stand with Ukraine, and Slava Ukraine.
Slava Ukraine.
Thank you.